No vean el ok. Para los que necesitan español, ya pueden ver abajo en la cajita al lado de Share Screen, van a ver las opciones de inglés o español. Los que necesitan español, por favor, brinquen ahora al cuarto de español.
Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. Well, hello. Thank you for introducing yourselves and your businesses. I'm Suzanne. Happy to be here today. I own Frameworks Creative. I do branding, marketing, and photography for small businesses. I believe too many business owners don't know where to start when it comes to marketing. So my company exists to empower business owners like you with the tools you need to be excited and equipped to spread the word about what you do while staying within your budget.
Make sure, Suzanne, that you speak a little slower for the interpreter.
So the first thing we're going to speak about today, well, actually first, I want to let you know that I'm an entrepreneur along with all of you. I have over 13 years of experience in design and marketing and photography. I just started my own business about 4 years ago. I'm certified a woman business enterprise through Monroe County and New York State. And if you don't know what that means, you should check with Augustine or Anne and Tanya. And transitioned out of my full-time job at the beginning of 2022 to focus on my business full-time. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is with marketing, you want to be clear. The message that you choose to use for your business is just as important as your logo or the things you think of as your brand. So you want to make sure all your marketing is talking about what you sell and how it can make the lives of your customers better. So this is in the slides that are provided. When you have a minute, I would encourage you to take a look at it. It's based on Maslow's hierarchy of basic human needs. So it just talks about the different values that your business might be addressing when it comes to what your product or service offers your customer. These are important to understand as you're putting your marketing together so that you can make sure that your messaging will resonate with those values that your customers have. Oh, excuse me. So I want to take a minute and have you share, Augustine, I'm not sure if this makes more sense in the chat or over audio, but how does your product or service make the lives of your customer better?
I think audio will work well because then I can help with also interpreting for those who want to speak out loud. I know that Danny's helping in that area, but I can also then advocate.
Okay. So go ahead and share if you've thought about how does your product or service impact the life of your customer. I'm sure you've thought about this at some extent, but just what's a simple way to say how you impact their lives? What's the value that you add?
I'll go. I'll say the value that I will add to the women and girls' lives is intentional support. So having that one-on-one support, kind of holding your hands, especially as those who are first-time moms or just don't know how to find a balance.
Thank you, Grace.
I can go too. For me, I think one of the best things that I have to offer is that people are coming to me for special occasions. So I can contribute something that's not only going to be beautiful for them to look at, but also something that's they can be excited to actually eat and, you know, maybe have leftovers if there's any of those. But it's just usually happy occasions. So just giving that taste and the look that they want.
Great.
I like I'd like to go if you don't mind. For me and my service, I like to see it as I'm a part of the process of giving that message to my clients, as to giving them an identity, a clear identity of who they are, what product or service they themselves provide, and making sure that they have the right tools necessary to reach out and market themselves, basically.
Yeah, wonderful.
As LGBT community page and silver nightclub bar, we can sell coffee, offer community, and a good time.
I wasn't quite able to catch that. Do you mind just putting that in the chat? Thank you, Matt. Anyone else just want to share how does your product or service make the lives of your customers better?
I can go.
Oh, you can go first.
Oh, can I go?
Yeah, you go. You go
All
first.
right. So mine is a nonprofit farm, so I will be directly supporting people who are experiencing food insecurity, which improves their lives overall. It reduces stress, it improves their health, it gives them less tension in their lives because it's a scary thing to not have enough food, especially if you have a family or if you're part of a marginalized community, you have difficulty communicating or finding support within your peers in an area. So it is a multifold service rather than just being food. It's more of a community.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's meeting foundational needs and, you know, needs that are higher up on the pyramid.
So I have an installation company, and I guess my biggest thing to make customers better is saving them money. So saving companies money by the things that we kind of fix and put in would save them in taxes, and also personal protection. So keeps people from getting burned, creates long-term insurance benefits, and again, saving the world by cutting down on fossil fuels.
Wonderful.
Hi, so Lauren and I are opening up Charlie's Canine Camp. Obviously, we'd hope that you'll have a more balanced and socialized dog that's also tired from being at the facility. It's clean, it's safe, there's positive training to reinforce those good behaviors, friendly and knowledgeable staff, and ultimately having a more manageable, balanced dog at home.
Great. Yes. Thanks. Anyone else want to share?
I can go. So with my specialty eats and the carnival eats that I plan on doing, it actually, I would say it makes the their lives better by taking the hassle out of, making their own desserts. And it's also access to things that people want and see on social media, like the cool desserts and little foods and stuff. And with the Carnival Eats, it also allows people to have the summer of filling year round.
Wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. So we're going to move on and talk about a visual brand. So before we move on to the parts of a visual brand, the general term brand refers to a business and marketing concept that helps people identify a particular company or product. So it's more than just your visual brand. But today, since that's my specialty, we're going to focus on just the visual part of your brand. So what are some ideas of what you think is important when it comes to a visual brand? What are things you think of as being components? And go ahead, you can share either out loud or in the chat.
Maybe photos with your business name of what you're doing. So if you have, like for me, I would have like a little cake or something next to my name.
Yes. Other components, what are parts of a visual brand?
I think something that identifies you and what you do.
Yes, definitely.
I would say, sorry, I can't put my camera on, but I would say your logo. Also, it depends on what kind of logo you have. It could call attention, like for your audience, and they'll maybe click on your profile picture to see what is your brand or business about. So logo is like very important.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, I definitely agree with you. And I know that's a big part of why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, to help.
So when you start thinking about your visual brand, and I know it sounds like a lot of you are at the very beginning stages of your business. So this is a perfect time, to be forming it well. You want a very strong logo, as Karina was just sharing. You want a look and feel that matches who you are and what those values are that we were talking about earlier. One of the other most important parts when it comes to your visual brand is consistency. So whether it's something that you print, or it's your Facebook page, or it's a t-shirt that you have printed, you want to use consistent look and feel. So these are examples of visual brands that I've put together for different customers. And these are very basic, but just to show you the different parts. So we have the logo. Sometimes there's just one main logo, or sometimes different versions. The colors, so that you can use them consistently. Fonts, so the type that you're choosing to use. And then any supporting graphics. So I always recommend that small businesses put together just a very simple brand board like this. And you can refer to it when you're building your marketing materials, so that you're using the same colors, so that you're using the same fonts, so you can remember all of those parts. So the first part is your logo. As we mentioned, this is a very important part of your visual brand. My recommendation is that you have your logo professionally designed. It should reflect who you are as a business. Again, I help people out to clearly see what you're selling and what your business is about. And I think you should love your logo. You want it to be something that you're proud to hand out and that you're excited to share with potential customers. So another very important part of a visual brand is photography. It was one of the things that was mentioned earlier. This is a big part of what I do with small businesses. I think photography is a way that you can communicate who you are as a business owner and what you sell in much faster time than you know, having to read a paragraph about what you're doing. So today we're going to talk about different photography options. So there's stock photography, and there's also custom photography. So stock photography is basically using a library of photos that professional photographers have gathered together, but they're not photos of your clients or your products. So the pros to using stock photos would be they're easy. There's a lot of resources for free options, which I'll share with you on the next slide. It's fast. You don't have to plan or you know, set up a photo shoot or think about exactly how it would work in location or with your products. The cons to stock photography is they can't reflect exactly who you are. And it can be costly. Stock photos can cost a lot of money if you're looking for something specific. So these are 3 options for stock photography. These are all free options, have free options, I should say. So the links are in the presentation, which is on the website. But I would encourage you just to see what's available, check them out and see, you know, in your line of business, if you feel like there's some that could help you have some content for your website or your other marketing materials. And the other option for photography is custom photography. So the pros to custom photography is it reflects your brand authentically, since you're taking photos of your actual products, or you're even in them as a business owner, or taking pictures of actual customers. It doesn't necessarily take any extra equipment. Everyone, you know, has a phone that has a very decent camera on it these days. So if you know a few basic lighting techniques, you can take really great photos pretty easily with tools you already have. And custom photos can help ease fears. So for example, if you had, I'm trying to think through the examples that you have here. So maybe Grace with the mentoring for young girls. If you have a location where that happens, maybe having a room of what that looks like, you know, with a mentor and one of the girls, so that they would have an idea of, oh, that's how it will be when I go. I don't have to be like, I don't know what to expect. Cons for custom photography is that it takes time. Takes time to plan, to find, you know, customers or people who will participate in your photo shoots. Also, obviously, it costs money for professional photos. And then it's not always an option depending on your product or service. So these are examples of custom photography. Before we move on, just wanted to take a moment to have you all think of what sort of photos do you think would capture your business well? And one way I like to think about this is, what does a happy customer look like for you? And could you capture that in a picture? So just take a minute to think about that. And if anybody wants to share, go ahead and share.
I can share. I actually have customers, when I give them my cakes, I always tell them, feel free to send any photos that you have. And usually they'll send pictures of, whoever the birthday girl or the birthday boy, or even babies with smash cakes and stuff like that. Professional photos, which comes in handy. They'll send those over, and it literally shows them being happy with the product that I serve.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
For Charlie's Canine Camp, it would be dogs playing or owners leaving with their dogs with a big smile on their face and their dog's tired.
Yes, yes.
I think for my business, it'd be more, I can see the reaction, personally, the reaction of faces of customers when they see their images specifically, and like almost like a behind the scenes of, this is the result of all the work. Like it does have meaning.
Yes, right. It kind of is a inception type thing you have to think. Obviously, I understand that that perspective. Any other thoughts on what a happy customer photo could look like for you?
In my case, it would be when we send out the business cards, they use their business cards with their products and take pictures and share them. Or when we sell the decals, the customer will put it on their cards and take the pictures and share it on their Facebook or Instagram. And they're happy about it, or they're excited that they got their stickers. And
yeah, great, thank you. Anyone else want to share it before we move on? Okay, well, I would just encourage you to think about what sort of photography you'd like to use for your business. Would stock photography work for you? And sometimes it can be a combination of both stock photography and custom photography. And then also, if you want to take your own photos, what sort of photos should you capture? So how can you help your customer picture themselves using your product, or what their life would look like if they purchase from you? Okay, so just to go over the basics of a visual brand. So we talked about your logo and your visual identity. Also the words that you're using, all of those pieces should be consistent across all the platforms. Your business cards, flyers, website, any social media pages. So consistency. And if, as I mentioned, if you haven't already, just start narrowing down the options for all of those pieces. I know it's easy at the beginning to have a lot of different ideas of things you like, but it's just going to be confusing for the customer if you're using too many different looks and feels. So I'd like to hear from you all. Where are you in the process of developing your visual brand? And I know, again, a lot of you are in the beginning stages. And then what has been your biggest challenge when it comes to the visual part of your brand?
I think I mean, I have a very unique perspective on this because of the business I'm trying to run. But for me, it has to do with trying to really create a niche, like a actual specialty when it comes to photography. Photography is such a broad spectrum, it's such a broad thing that um, I'm realizing that in my website, like people look at them and they say, you have some really nice images, but there's everything. There's landscape, there's a little bit of studio, there's a little bit of lifestyle. And in reality, I need to start really focusing and honing in on what niche I want to specialize in, what kind of photography, maybe specifically gyms, or maybe specifically with catering businesses, stuff like that. It's honing in on that specialty.
Yes, great.
Hi. So with the installation company, I don't have anything quite yet. I did make some business cards and some stuff for the website, but the idea I kind of want to go with is green mountain insulators. Green for anything energy saving usually is kind of eye catching, and the whole green mountains, just to kind of get back to, you know, being a little bit primitive with a little bit of technology, kind of new age and different. So like, that's the only thing I have so far.
And do you feel like you've had any specific challenges you're running into, or you just feel like you're
Just that I want to make sure that you know it's a insulation company by looking at it, which can be a bit difficult in just a color, and something like green mountain insulators doesn't necessarily spark insulation. So I'm trying to kind of narrow down the colors, the message, with what's actually going to go on the card or be an image that you naturally associate with insulation versus just energy.
right? No, I think the color, that's a great place to start. Thinking also the name of your company has what you do in it, so that's great. And so maybe considering a logo that has your name in it, that way that will help, you know, translate for potential customers what it is that you do. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Lauren and I have already come up with our logo. I'm not sure if you all can see it.
Very fun.
So kind of what we did, we bought a retired horse farm. So we're reconstructing the barns. So obviously the barns are red. So we went with the red and black theme. The font that we went with kind of reminds us of like logs or reclaimed lumber. Charlie's is the first dog that I got that I realized I was passionate about dogs. And then the you know, the little red dog with the play bow in the middle is actually a silhouette of Lauren's dog Tucker. So it's a little piece of the farm, a little piece of me, a little piece of Lauren. And then we can either add or take away the Finger Lakes, New York, depending on what we're printing. If we need it smaller, obviously the smaller letters you can't read. So, and we had one of Lauren's clients, who's an artist, help us with it. And she volunteered her time, and then she took us as far as she could go. And then we needed it formatted for printing purposes. So I reached out to a local coworker of mine who recently became an entrepreneur, and asked him who he used, and gave us the network, and he finished it and put it in a format that we can use for printing purposes on all sizes. So
Great. I love that it's simple. It's clearly communicates, right? A playing dog very easily, but it also has depth of meaning. So that's, I feel like those two things are very important, but also really hard to get for a logo. So I would say great job there.
Thank you.
Do you feel like you've had any specific challenges when it comes to your visual brand? Or you mentioned that the logo wasn't the right kind for printing at first.
Yeah, I think, you know, when we first talked to Lauren's client, who's, you know, an artist, I mean, she's just, you know, paper and pencil, right? She's not into the graphic design piece of it. So it was just, you know, reaching out to a few people that I knew that might be able to get us in the right direction. I think, you know, I mean, we played around. This might have been our, I don't know, second, third, fourth, you know, go around with somebody helping us, and that didn't work out because we just didn't like it. And it was just I think the hardest thing was the process of figuring out one that went, yep, that's the one we want.
Mhm.
So it just took time and brainstorming, and just let it marinate and give it time. Don't rush it.
I think those are great points. And I think also another, right, it's very important when you have your logo professionally designed that you are very involved in the process, right? Because you know your business better than any graphic designer is going to know your business. And so I think, like Amy, like you're talking about, that collaboration, that back and forth is very important for you to really get to a place where you get a logo that you really love.
Yeah, it's kind of going to be with us for a while, right? So we got to love it.
Yep. Yep. Anyone
I would
else?
like,
Yes.
yeah, I would like, this is our logo. I don't, let me take out the blur, hold on, sorry. This is my husband and I's logo. It's so bright, hold on. I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, yes.
It's, there we go. It's RJ Designs, stickers and logos graphic design. RJ stands for initials for our kids actually. The R is our oldest daughter, and the J, since our both our sons start with J, so we just decided RJ. Plus it's also my husband's initials, first and middle name. So it went like perfect for what we're for us. And it has like a pencil because he draws everything on his iPad. He custom makes all the logos, and he hand draws every logo. So it's like he avoids Photoshop. He draws everything. So if somebody wants something custom, like that's his line. He doesn't like repeating logos or repeating designs or anything. He wants to make something specific for that specific person. And if someone likes it, he wants to do something similar, he will try to change some stuff but not make it the same type. That's our official logo. When the challenge was to actually finally decide on a logo that's for us, that we like, and a name that is also meaningful for us. This is like his six logos that he finally said, okay, this is the one I want, and we're gonna stick with this. And so when we finally decided on that logo, he printed out his stickers and his business card. But it was like, it took us like 6 tries to finally get the one that we want.
Yeah, I definitely hear you, especially right when you're a business where people are going to be coming to you for logos. It's an extra layer of pressure, but as Amy mentioned too, it's a big decision and it does take time. So I think those are both important parts. And I would say when you go to hire someone to do your logo, if you do, just be aware of how many versions they'll give you and how many times back and forth, how many revisions you have. Those are important pieces to know right when you're signing up for a service.
I'd like to share too. So I just met up with someone recently. I'm in the works of getting a website made and also a logo. The logo is done. It's this. So it has my name, which also has the name of the business. My name is Lani. That's my middle name, and then cake. Lani also means heaven, so it's kind of like cake heaven. And it's got a little cake in there. And so that's my logo. But I also I try to come up with ways to be creative where I can push my business out even without me saying it. And I'm going to show you guys. I had some roller skates made that they have sprinkles on them and you can't really see too good, but in this corner, it has my business name on it as well. So just another way to kind of, people will see the sprinkles and they'll be like, what's up with the skates? You know, they'll ask questions, they'll see my business name on there. So just, I've been trying to find different ways to put the name out there. So to get people asking questions in an obvious way that it's cake.
Yeah, I love that. I love roller skates. How fun. Have you run into any challenges?
It honestly, not really. It's been very easy because it's such a fun thing and people like to talk about cakes. People like to watch me make them. They're so interested in it that it's not really hard to talk about or to even just show. So not too many. I haven't really run into challenges. I guess just, you know, finding people who can do it would be the biggest challenge, but not too bad.
Great, thank you.
Anyone can feel.
Para los que hablan en español, I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
That my logo so far, if anyone can see it.
Thanks for sharing, Matt. I'm trying to find your maybe could you put in the chat if you've had run into any issues when it comes to your visual brand? Yes, logo is a great place to start. Just one note, just based on seeing what you have so far, I would just recommend that you keep it simple. Make sure that you think of all the context that it will be going into. So, you know, printing and you know, big, small, on a small business card, you want to make sure that it translates well.
¿Alguien quisiera mostrar su logo?
Yo tengo uno, Agustín.
¿Tienes uno?
Sí, Rolando.
¿Me lo puedes mostrar, Rolando?
Sí,
Ponlo más cerquita a la cámara, no lo veo. Nice. Okay. And Suzanne, what's your question for Rolando?
¿Tienes alguna problema con su brand visual?
No.
No. Está muy claro que tú hacer.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. I would like to repair house, to change the window, the door, the floor. I would like to repair the basement and the paint, everything inside the house, outside, you know.
Just one thing. I can't say this all in Spanish, so I'll let
Una
August.
cosa. Sí.
You want to make sure that you're standing out from other construction companies.
Averíguate de que puedas separarte de la competencia, de la misma gente que hace lo mismo.
Sí. Yo hice esta tarjeta y ya por esta misma se la he entregado a varias personas, ya me han llamado y estoy trabajando por esta misma tarjeta.
Nice.
Aunque todavía no la he certificado en la ciudad,
Okay.
pero he ido haciendo algunos trabajos a través de ella.
He just started his business, so with this card, he has already been giving them out, and people have already been calling him as people shared his business card.
Wonderful. I mean, that means that it's clear, right? That you're communicating what you do.
Yeah, suena que es claro lo que estás ofreciendo y es fácil para el consumidor llamarte.
Gracias. Thank you.
¿Alguien más?
Sí, yo, Marta.
Marta.
Estaba pues leyendo las preguntas que Susan ha puesto y realmente la compañía que quiero tener es de mantenimiento. Así que estoy pensando en algún diseño, la cual es un poco difícil porque todo tiene que ver, por ejemplo, una foto de algo grupal como un cubo, un mapa, una escoba. Quiero algo diferente que se refleje que es para, ¿sabe? Que muestre que es para mantenimiento, pero que no tenga que ver con lo mismo fotos de otras compañías. Y otra cosa que aprendí también ahora es que tiene que ser siempre lo mismo como ¿verdad? La presentación en los flyers, en la tarjetita, el logo en una camiseta. Eso lo aprendí hoy también, que tiene que ser todo lo mismo, pero estoy tratando de buscar una idea que sea algo diferente en cuestión de una foto, una presentación para la compañía, de verdad. Lo único que he tenido como que en mente, que también era como que una guagua con la etiqueta con el nombre de la compañía, obviamente el dibujo, o sea, no sé, se me ha hecho realmente un poquitito difícil, de verdad que sí.
Okay. Marta, just to resume, she was just saying that in her maintenance company with residential and commercial, she knows that she wants to make it clear and want exactly what people know exactly what she does, but she doesn't want to use the same pictures that everybody else has done, like the broom or the mop or the bucket. She also understands that the logo has to be something that's easily replicable, right? Something that you can put on a shirt, also in a little card, also in whatever else that she's going to have it on, right? So for her, it's thinking about that creative design that stands out, but at the same time is clear and replicable with all her merchandise.
Yes. I would say thinking about the values of your business. So think about, like we talked about, I think you've talked about other weeks, but what makes your company stand out? Not only what services do you offer, but why is your company different from other maintenance companies, right? And is that something that you can reflect in your logo?
Entonces, ella lo que te recomienda que pienses, no solamente pienses en el servicio que muestras al consumidor, sino piensa también en el valor que que tu compañía representa, porque tal vez usando eso, los valores de tu carácter, del servicio que vayas a mostrar, tal vez eso te dé las ideas creativas que estás buscando, que te ayude a separarte a la competencia.
I think also photography could be a really good way to communicate, especially if you do the work and, showing what you do and showing you do the job. I think that can communicate even better than a logo can, what you do.
So, tal vez con fotografía pueda que sea una forma única y diferente que ayude claramente a ver lo que tú haces, especialmente si tú eres la que haces el servicio, porque eso te va a ayudar a separarte de la competencia, pero también claramente mostrar qué es lo que haces.
Do you mind if I can add to that thought?
Yes, please.
Vamos a ver cuánto me sale el español. Marta, volviendo a la idea, a los valores de tu compañía, y corrígeme si estoy incorrecto, tú quieres trabajar específicamente con gente de mayor edad, ¿verdad?
Oh, Marta,
Estás muted. No te escuchamos.
Estás muda. Tienes que quitar el.
Excuse
Ahí
me.
está.
Ok. Una compañía de mantenimiento comercial, o sea, trabajar en clínicas, hospitales, es lo que me interesa.
Ok, pues mira, te digo la verdad, por lo menos a mí me gusta la idea del logo de tener un carro, ¿verdad? Porque es un servicio que tú guías y es parte de tu servicio, como que tú vas a sitio.
Ujú.
Yo creo que una forma que puedes aún más, potente, única, oh my God, to make yourself unique, hacerte más, ¿cómo se dice unique en español?
Único.
Único, hacerte más única. Es tal vez en esa misma guagua, puedes tal vez enseñar lo que hay adentro y ahí mismo dentro es como que un poquito cómico, pero tal vez alguien ahí acostado, sentado y relajándose, o sea, que la está pasando bien y puedes enseñar el mismo cliente, tal vez están ahí en la guagua, que ahí se encuentra el servicio que es cómodo, que están felices, que están tal vez, no sé, una idea.
Sí, también lo había pensado más en vez de un dibujo como una fotografía, una persona limpiando un cristal con
Ujú.
una sonrisa, algo así.
No,
Este,
eso es bueno.
lo de la guagua como que recostado, esa es buena también. Pensé ahorita como que si la fotografía sería como que más interesante que hacer como un dibujito,
Claro.
un cómic. Oh, ok, eso está bueno, Juan, de verdad, gracias.
So to summarize the conversation, there was this idea of like, what if you make the logo mobile? What if it showed you being mobile, going to your commercial clients that you're looking to do some cleaning on, and showing the customer relaxed because the work is done and it's done well. And then Marta responded saying that's a good idea. I also like the idea of a photo, perhaps someone who's actually doing the work with a smile on their face might also represent quite well what my brand will look like.
I love it. I love how you're thinking bigger than the logo now too.
Me encanta que estás pensando aún más grande que el logo. Ya está hablando de tu marca.
And just one thought on the car idea, I would again encourage all of you to think back to the values that you're providing for your customer. So are you trying, like, is ease, ease of your service, that you're making it easy for them, is that important? And if so, then that might be a wonderful direction to try. Just making sure that the values are connecting, and those are the things you're focusing on in your visual brand.
Solo ella comparte que se recuerden una vez más que cuando estén hablando sobre su marca, que recuérdense que el valor, o sea, sus valores que traen, su carácter, de lo que quieran traer al servicio, a su producto, que los ayude y los guíes a pensar cómo va a estar diseñado lo que le van a mostrar al cliente.
Ok, lo más importante es el valor es lo más importante, gracias.
Yes, the value is the most important thing.
Yes. So I don't want to miss out if anyone else would like to pitch, share what the challenges are when it comes to visual brand. Please interrupt me. Thank you for all your participation. I think this is the most valuable way to see where other people are and hear how other people have been, what's worked for building a brand, and how are you thinking about what to use for a logo. So when it comes to marketing your business, one of the most important things you can do is ask for the sale. So you want to spell out very clearly for your customers, potential customers, how to purchase your product or service. So make sure you're using action words and directly connect them with how they can purchase. Don't make them guess. And then you want to repeat however you ask for that sale, you want to repeat it. Have it on your business card. Have it on your website in multiple places. Have it on your Facebook page. You don't want people to have to look through a lot of things to have to find how to do business with you. Here are some examples of calls to action. It's what you want to do for your customers, right? So here's one: get started, or shop now. These are obviously examples from online advertisements. Or start your free trial now. So getting back to your businesses, how are you calling your customer to action? What calls of action should you be using for your business?
Suzanne, excuse me, sometimes it seems so simple, but even just saying call today, call now, you know, like it's like, oh, and have a phone number or an email or visit our website now, you know, like just like here, like what you're saying. I love the simplicity of it, you know, but that's, yeah, just sharing that.
Yeah, and I can actually run through based on just some of the businesses here. So for the housekeeping or maintenance services, it would be sign up for a service, right? So sign up. For a nonprofit farm, I know there were a couple that were kind of in that genre. That one's a little bit unique because I think you're gonna have two different audiences. You'll have people who are funding the farm, right? Who are behind your mission. And you'll also have the people who you want to connect the service to provide the food, the healthy, fresh, local food for families in need. So thinking of what two calls to action are you going to need? So it would be sign up for a meal sharing, or I'm not sure what you'll call it, or support farm to table for families in need. These are obviously need refining, but just as examples.
I actually have a couple ideas for it. Like I would want a support us button somewhere on the website, but because I'm not relying heavily on donations, I have a lot of other ideas for bringing in funding. So more than likely, I need to stress signing up and receiving a share. So it is a farm share. So they'd be signing up for shares throughout the season or throughout the year. And I need to have that clearly spelled out somewhere on the website and be advertising various types of shares throughout the year because there's a lot of different components and moving parts. So it is a little bit tricky. There's a lot to think about ahead of time.
Yes, definitely. So maybe even the seasonal one, it would be sign up for the fall share, right? So something specific.
Right. It could, I mean, it could be any shares throughout the season. There would be a seasonal share for the growing season and then a share for the entire year, which includes a value added season. And that's the season between the growing periods. So there's, like I said, I mean, it's like, it's going to take a little work to figure out exactly how to attract people to where they need to be. But I mean, it might even be something like just having different pages on the website where people can funnel through and find the services that they need.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
One thing I was thinking of is putting everywhere, like on the website, on the card, free energy audits. So where they come out and kind of like give you a quote, but it's basically in what you can do to save money and how, and it's free.
Yes, I think that's great. And getting people, yeah, I mean, people are going to call when they see that.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. A lot of these call to action, do they have to use the word now? Like now, call now, schedule now.
Yeah, they don't have to. It just giving that timeable piece to it creates a sense of urgency. So it does, you know, encourage people to take action, but we might also become blind to it, right? If we're seeing it all day, every day. So be creative, but I would say test it out. You know, come up with a couple and ask some friends or people who don't know you what they think, which one is the most effective. Anyone else want to share? How can you be asking your customer, your potential customer, to take action? How can you be asking them for the sale?
You can, for people that are, you know, selling products like food and things, you can have it say, place order now, or customize your customized cake now, you know, just to get them on track to placing the order.
Yes.
You can say call to shoot, or email to shoot.
I have a suggestion for the business that my daughter Jalen and I are doing as far as customized gift baskets and things. So right now we're coming up on Easter and Mother's Day, and so we're planning and prepping. So what comes to my mind for a call to action is don't miss out.
So I would say that's maybe something that could go with a call to action, but it would need to be like, don't miss out, call today, or don't miss out, buy a basket now, right? So you want to still
Right.
give them a clear, yeah. So, but that's a great lead. That's a great lead, yeah.
Okay, but are you saying that it should, or does it not necessarily have to have the word call in? Maybe someone asked that and I missed it.
Oh, it depends on what the action is that you're trying to get them to take. So how do people order baskets from you?
So usually they're posted on a website. Jalen's she's better at that than I am, social media wise. And then I do word of mouth and pictures. You know, I might carry pictures in my phone.
So maybe it would be see available gift baskets, right?
So okay.
Just directing them to where they can take that action and make that purchase.
Okay, thank you.
So this is the end of my presentation. I, again, thank you for all the participation today. I really think that's how we can all get the most value out of these workshops. I would encourage you to download my 5 keys to success for your startup. Just has a few marketing suggestions, things to work through. It is only in English, so, but if anyone would like it in Spanish, I can definitely get it to you. Please just let Augustine know. And I will be hanging out with you for the rest of class today, so please feel free to ask any other questions that you have.
Thank you, Suzanne. We're going to take just a few minutes for a break. We'll break until it's 7:07 right now. We'll break until for 5 minutes until well, it's 7:08 now. So we'll break until 7:13. And then if you guys could come back, we're going to head into our next workshop session and head into some breakout rooms. And on the break, if you could remember to go and fill out the evaluation, that would be great.
Haciendo lo mismo una y otra vez, es porque queremos recordarnos exactamente lo que está en cada cajita.
Okay, and then we talked about how you're going to reach your customers. We usually would start with our customer segment, what we're going to talk about tonight, but we've already talked about the channels, how you're going to reach your customer.
Ya hemos hablado en varias situaciones en qué tipo de consumidores ya hemos hablado sobre los canales, entonces hoy vamos a hablar de cómo poder encontrarnos con esos consumidores.
And then tonight we're going to talk about the customer segments block, I should say, the customer segments block on the business model canvas. So who is your customer?
Entonces hoy vamos a hablar de quién es tu consumidor.
Many times, entrepreneurs and business owners will say their customer is anyone that will pay me.
Muchas veces, entre emprendedores, hablamos en que el consumidor es cualquiera el que me pague.
Many entrepreneurs have told me that their business is everyone.
Y que muchas veces nos dicen, mi consumidor o mi cliente es cualquiera.
But we know that that is, of course, not correct.
Pero nosotros sabemos que, sabemos que eso no es cierto.
It's someone that needs your services. So when we talk about who is your customer, it's someone that if I'm looking, like when I'm thinking about the people in this room, you know, Charlie's Canine Camp is a very good example, is if I don't have a dog or a cat or another animal, I'm not probably going to be going to Charlie's Canine Camp.
So, muchas veces cuando estamos hablando de esa edad, de quién es tu consumidor, tienes que pensar bien, bueno, si yo personalmente voy a tener una compañía de cuidar perros, pero no tengo perros, aunque tenga dinero, no soy tu cliente.
So just to review, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to take some time and we're going to be interviewing each other. So it's a very popular way. Entrepreneurs are encouraged to ask people questions, to ask potential customers questions. So we're going to do that tonight.
Vamos a hacer una actividad hoy donde nos vamos a apurar y ayudarnos a uno mismo a entrevistar, a hacer entrevistas de uno a otro. Cuando eres emprendedor, es natural de que estés buscando y preguntando a otros qué ellos piensan de ti como compañía y qué es lo que de verdad realísticamente tú estás buscando en tus consumidores.
We only have about 5 slides here, but I'm just going to go through them briefly. So the first question is for our customer segments is, for whom are we creating value? For whom are we creating value?
Entonces, parte de las preguntas que hacemos naturalmente es en el segmento de clientes. La primera pregunta es, ¿para quién estamos creando valor?
We may have an ideal customer. So when we say who are our most important customers, we may have like the perfect customer. And then we're going to have, like, if you have a daycare and you have children that live 10 houses away, but you have children that live 2 or 4 miles away, your perfect customer may be right next door, but a secondary customer may also be, is also a possible customer.
Y cuando estamos hablando de quién es tu cliente ideal, tal vez sea cercanamente tengas un cliente que sea perfecto, pero también hay que pensar, bueno, ¿quién sería el cliente secundario? Aunque sea un poquito más lejos.
I have a question.
Tengo pregunta.
Sure, Jackie.
All right, so, as I'm listening and going through this, but also shouldn't it make sense for us to look at where we are going to also, obviously not everyone's going to be your client, but asking where I'm going to, how I can grow my business. So example, let's say you have a nail salon. Okay. I'm not going to cater just to women who are, 25 to 55, working women. I also would like to have some teenage girls, so I think, I guess my question is, depending on what it is that what your business is going to be, there has to be that question that you don't want to just, you don't want to just limit to certain people. Certain businesses like the dog grooming business or things like that. Yes. It is what it is. Right? Am I right? Am I on the right page?
So what we want to just think about right now is that who you think your customer is may be part of it, but your customer may be someone else. Like we sometimes want to design who our customers are, but we're going to talk, we'll go through this and we can talk maybe more about that, and maybe some of these questions will be answered. Are we okay to move on, Augustine?
Para sumerar, la pregunta es, a veces me siento que cuando estamos hablando de nuestro cliente ideal, vamos a decir que soy un salón donde estoy buscando, pinto uñas, pero no quiero solamente limitarme a una edad, a tal edad y que están en tan espacio de economía. Quisiera también expandir a otros consumidores secundarios. So, para clarificar cómo es la mejor forma de entender quién realmente es tu cliente o si podemos abrir las puertas aún más amplias para obtener más clientes. Entonces, Anne respondió que mientras continuemos con estas preguntas, creo que esos son los temas que vamos a poder tocar hoy.
I think it'd be helpful if we go to the next slide, Augustine.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about customer discovery, which is what Jackie is mentioning here too. Your customer it comes right back to your value proposition. It starts with a problem. Who has the exact problem that you're trying to solve?
Cuando estás pensando en tu cliente ideal, siempre vas a regresar para atrás al principio. ¿A quién es que le estás resolviendo el problema?
This is how we're going to get to who your customer is and who your target market is. It's finding out what the problem is and who has that particular problem.
Esta es la clave en cómo vamos a entender quién exactamente es tu cliente. Es cuando reconoces el problema y quién es el que tiene el problema.
And if you go to the next slide, what you're going to find, and again, Jackie, some of this is in here, pardon me, pardon me. Your customer is going to, at some point, you will start to see a trend about the age, about the gender, about where they live, about their education, Does your ideal customer have kids? Maybe you're selling something that's for children. Does your ideal customer have pets? Do they rent or own their home? You'll start to see these demographic, and you'll get a sense of what your client looks like with these variables.
Mientras continúas tu negocio y cuando te tiras para empezar, vas a tener una idea de quién es tu cliente, pero eventualmente vas a generar suficiente historial para entender, bueno, quién realísticamente es el género que estoy buscando, la edad, o el ingreso, la educación, hasta la ubicación de residencia, tu empleo, seas soltero, casado, tengas niños, mascotas o rentas o tengas casa. Todas esas diferentes características de tu cliente son algo que vas a aprender mientras continúas tu negocio.
Thank you, Augustine. So the next slide, just a couple more, and then we're going to talk about the questions. So when we talk about discovering who your customer is, if you listen, you're going to plan. We're going to ask a couple questions, get
Para
some
cuando estés pensando en la arte de descubrir tu cliente, lo primero que vas a hacer es planear.
We're going to listen to what people are telling us, because we have in our head what we think, but
Vamos
we're
a
going to
escuchar
listen.
lo que la gente nos estén diciendo a nosotros.
We're going to write it down. We're going to document it. We're going to write down what they say.
Vamos a documentar lo que estemos escuchando.
We're going to learn, and then we're going to pivot if we need to pivot.
Y con eso vamos a aprender, entonces pivotear.
And as an example of what a pivot would be, my sister and her husband have a Mexican restaurant, a fine dining restaurant in the Philadelphia area.
Para un ejemplo de qué significa como pivotear, tengo un ejemplo de un familiar que es dueño de un restaurante mexicano en la área de Filadelfia.
And when they opened their business more than 10 years ago, they were really designing it for a dinner crowd. They wanted to have these very big dinner crowds.
Cuando primero abrieron las puertas de sus restaurantes hace más de 10 años atrás, lo diseñaron directamente a hacer cenas con platos bien grandes y poder obtener clientes en números grandes.
However, they were located near a lot of businesses, and they found that their lunchtime was the busiest time.
Pero debido a que estaban ubicados entre un local comercial donde había otros negocios, descubrieron que la área de almuerzo es cuando realísticamente tenían más consumidores.
So they grew a very large lunch business, and that evolved into customers that then began to come back for dinner and developed a dinner crowd.
Por esa razón, pudieron crecer su clientela pasado al almuerzo y de ahí pudieron descubrir que esos mismos que comían durante el almuerzo regresaban para la cena.
So we could go to the next slide too, Augustine. Pardon me. So when you find these questions and you start asking people what they want, when you ask your customer what they want, instead of telling your customer what you are going to give them.
Cuando empiezas entonces a pensar y a buscar, a preguntarle qué es lo que el cliente quiere, en vez de tú empujar lo que tú estás ofreciendo,
you'll start to find a pattern. You'll start to see, a pattern in their answers, and you can then make some different decisions that make your customers happy.
Entonces ahí vas a empezar a descubrir todos esos datos que vas a ver que es bien único, bien especial. Es como creando una línea entre los consumidores que te va a ayudar a entender qué es exactamente lo que necesitan.
So let's take a look at some of the questions that we're going to ask each other tonight on the next slide.
Así que hoy, para parte de nuestro ejercicio, vamos a mirar unas cuantas preguntas de lo que vamos a preguntarnos unos a otros como entrevista para aprender qué es lo que de verdad el cliente necesita de ti.
So these are 5 questions. What you can start out by saying, first, we're going to go into breakout rooms in Zoom. So each of us we're going to have a number of different rooms, and we're so that we can get to know each other a little bit better, and there'll be smaller groups. But you can just begin to say, hello, my name is so-and-so. I'm starting a business selling this, or I'm starting a business offering services for seniors, or, you know, companion care. And what's, you know, have you ever had a need for that? Or has your family ever had a need for that? Or if you're selling, you know, the chocolate dip strawberries, like, when's the last time you went to look for something special, you know, a special, for a special occasion? What's the hardest part about finding that? When are you having, you know, what's the hardest part about finding care for your dog? You know, like, I know that we're hearing some of the same businesses which we're referencing, but we're going to start with this question.
Ok, para resumir, la idea es, en este ejercicio nos vamos a romper entre cuartitos chiquitos aquí en Zoom, y entre los grupos donde estamos, nosotros vamos a reunir, van a comenzar diciendo, bueno, mi nombre es tal y mi servicio es tal y tal. Entonces, cuando respondan su nombre y su negocio, pregunten, ¿han tenido cuál es la parte más difícil de poder resolver este problema? O me pueden contar sobre acerca de la última vez que sucedió, o si era tan difícil. Esos son los tipos de preguntas que nos vamos a preguntar unos a otros para poder entonces escuchar entre los otros y a ver si podemos averiguar diferentes opciones o soluciones o formas de cómo recibir o mandar ese producto o servicio a tus clientes.
So that would be the first question. Like, I don't think that we're going to necessarily go through every one of these questions, but I would just like people to read them. I'll just say them very quickly, but we can, to simplify the interview process, we want to try to get some feedback from others in the group, because a lot of professionals, and I don't know if Irv wants to chime in on this, may say that you really should talk, if you're in a consumer business, between 50 and 100 people to get their feedback, to get a real sense of what people may want for the businesses that you're providing.
Idealmente, recuérdense que el tipo de ejercicio es escuchar y a ver qué es lo que estás escuchando sobre tus clientes potenciales, que en este ejercicio va a ser unos a otros. Así que vamos a resumir leyendo todas estas preguntas, pero no todas tienen que ser preguntadas o respondidas porque obviamente el tiempo es limitado.
And when you're looking for people, we don't want you to just ask your best friend or your parents or your cousins. You need to be asking strangers, and people will say, where do I meet these strangers? And in the past, I've said, you might talk to someone at Wegmans if they're in an aisle buying something you're selling, and people think that's very strange. But you need to be able to talk to strangers, and we are in a perfect situation right now. We're in a room with people we don't necessarily know, and we're going to be able to we're going to get their feedback.
Este ejercicio es un comienzo, porque esencialmente la lucha el reto es de poder hablar con extranjeros, y típicamente extranjeros en los números de 50 hasta 100. Es el ejemplo, o lo que realísticamente deberías de, como emprendedor, preguntar a la gente para, ¿verdad?, escuchar y entender bien qué es lo que el consumidor está buscando. Lo que estamos haciendo es un comienzo, hablando entre unos a otros, pero en realidad el reto regularmente es entre 50 hasta 100 gente. Ahora, uno se pregunta, ¿pero dónde rayos voy a encontrar 50 a 100 gente que le voy a poder preguntar? Bueno, extranjeros están donde quiera. Puedes estar en el centro, en el centro comercial, esperando en la línea, y si alguien está comprando algo y tú vendes, es una buena forma en poder preguntarle a alguien y escuchar qué es lo que realísticamente necesitan.
Thank you, Augustine. So we're going to ask someone in the room, and we'll go in the rooms in just 1 minute. What's the hardest part about solving that problem? Can you tell me about the last time it happened? Why was that hard? What have you done to solve that problem? And particularly, what do you not like about the solutions available? What don't you like about the solutions? Because if there's not a good solution, this is a great opportunity for a new business to do it better, to have a better solution.
Ok, cuando nos rompemos en los diferentes grupos aquí en Zoom, estas son las preguntas que puedes preguntar y intentar de colectar información. ¿Cuál es la parte más difícil del problema que estás intentando resolver? ¿Me puedes contar acerca sobre la última vez que sucedió o por qué fue tan difícil? ¿Y qué has hecho? Si es que has hecho algo para resolver ese problema. Y lo último es, ¿qué es lo que no le gusta de la solución que probaste? Porque con esa pregunta va a ser clave, porque te ayudará a ti entonces a ver, bueno, yo como negocio que está intentando de resolver este problema en el mercado, tal vez lo puede ser un poquito diferente.
So Augustine, what we're going to do, Augustine is going to help us get into different Zoom rooms. And then what you want to just, we're going to take turns and have Augustine and I and Tanya can go and move around between the rooms. But if you have something to write on, just write yourself a note that you want to start with the question. What's the hardest part about, and fill in the blank, about solving this problem, about finding a photographer, about finding, you know, a installation person, whatever you're doing.
Ok,
And
so
then,
estoy abriendo
yeah.
los grupos de grupo ahora. Nos vamos a reunir en esos grupitos y primero vamos a comenzar buscando sobre el problema, qué es lo que el consumidor, qué es lo que de verdad dolió y cómo se pudo haber resolvido y cómo entonces uno lo puede hacer diferente. I do want to then close by saying there are 3 English rooms y hay 4 English rooms y hay 2 grupos español. Okay, those who need English, please jump into a room, either one of the 4s, English 1, 2, and 3, 4. Si hablas español, brinca entonces en el grupo que se llama Spanish, Spanish 1 o Spanish 2.
Does it matter if you speak both? All right.
Choose the one you prefer. Maybe I encourage you to jump in a Spanish one.
And we'll give a 1-minute warning when it's time to stop. I think we're going to go for at least 10 minutes, right, Augustine?
Yes. Duraremos unos 10 minutos. We're going to last 10 minutes in these rooms as we interview each other. Duraremos 10 minutos en lo que nos damos entrevista a cada uno de nosotros.
Does anyone need help in how to get into the room? Because I'm not seeing them on my screen.
So far, people are joining in just fine. ¿Alguien necesita ayuda en cómo entrar a un cuarto?
They have to click on more in the right-hand column, the bottom, or I did anyway. Does everyone see the breakout rooms down at the bottom?
Todos ven el llamado de grupito abajo en la pantalla.
Because you might be able just to add them into the room.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Brenda, do you need English or Spanish?
Agustín, ¿cómo puedo entrar aquí al grupo?
Te mando ahora mismo.
Ajá.
Yari, do you need Spanish or do you need English?
Spanish, but estoy tratando de entrar join breakout.
Yo te mando
Ahora
ahora
lo
mismo,
entendí.
no te preocupes, yo mismo te mando ahora. Hey, Octavio, do you need help?
Does Rolando need to get in a room?
Oh, Rolando.
Envíalo, Agustín, envíalo, Agustín.
Ok, déjame ver si te veo.
Sí. Oh,
Ronaldo is in a room. Octavio, te voy a mover a un cuarto, ¿ok?
Then he must be in our room.
Yeah.
No, because we're not in a room.
Ronaldo, te veo que te pusiste en el cuarto número 2, pero por cualquier razón no te veo que has entrado.
Sí.
Sí, por favor, por si acaso hay alguien que necesita ayuda. Gracias, Dani. Octavio, te intenté de mover al primer grupo de español. ¿Estás ahí dentro? Creo que te saliste.
I'm going to jump into a room.
Go ahead. I'll take care of it.
Agustín, ¿me puedes poner en el 2?
Déjame ver.
No, no puedo entrar aquí.
Whoops. Sorry.
More people had to talk than us,
Looks like we're still the only group that came back.
right? Everybody else in their focus sessions were like, we got it.
Xiomara, do you go by Xiomara or do you go by another name?
Xiomara, and you said it perfectly. Most people don't. I say Z if they can't pronounce it. So.
Oh, well, that's my middle name. So that's why I was wondering. And people are like, what? Yeah. So people are like, how do you say that? Xiomara, Sayamara.
I hate the way it sounds in English. I love Xiomara. I feel like it just sounds better for some reason. I like it that way. Supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not, so don't quote me, but supposedly it means ready for battle.
Ooh.
But
Ooh, look
sounds
at
like
that.
it, so I'll take it.
Me too. I love my
I've
middle
never met
name.
somebody with my name. That's cool.
Yeah. Me. Oh wait, there's actually so there's somebody in the Newark area, like a student who also has that name.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more common nowadays. It wasn't before. And like if you go to Spain or Puerto Rico, it's like Brittany. Everybody has it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this girl goes by Mara.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For the last MARA. Makes sense.
Z, I like
Cool.
that. Z.
Yeah, it's just so much easier than spelling it out.
Nelly Z.
Oh, let's put in the contact information. I'm also gonna put my email. I'm gonna send it to you, Grace, but I'm also gonna put my email in the chat. So if anybody wants to email me, you're more than welcome. Oh, hi, Suzanne.
Hello.
So we weren't sure what we did. We went through each other, asked each other questions, and went through kind of each of our, like what our initial problems were. And then
Yeah.
when we finished, we weren't sure what to do. So
Yeah, same with our room. So that's why we came back. I'm not really sure where we're supposed to be, but how was that for you? Did it help you think of any new things?
For sure. I
Or
know
new
the
questions
businesses
to
I'm
ask?
gonna visit.
Great suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just the idea of actively looking for feedback and to hear things that maybe you're not expecting. I think that's, as an entrepreneur, so important to keep
So
in
can I
mind.
ask you, I want to ask you the same thing I kind of asked the group to get your opinion. I feel like with insulation, the biggest issue, I don't have it yet, but I'm sure I'll run into it, is educating the consumer to validate the pricing. Because when it comes to like energy saving, that can be really difficult and it's not an easy task to educate people with, especially when it comes with a significant cost. Is there any suggestions that you would have?
I would say make that part of your plan. So you don't want to just be asking for the sale without providing value, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, it says my internet was unstable. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. So maybe part of your marketing plan overall can be educating, right? So, I mean, that's what I do for my, I try to give away a lot of things for free on my social media so that I'm attracting the people who are interested in learning about marketing, right? And so giving those pieces of value. So how can you connect those facts, right? The reality with why it matters to them? Because people are going to be interested to learn, right? Like how can redoing your insulation make a big impact on your utility bills, right? Obviously, that's an obvious one. I don't know a whole lot about insulation, so I probably can't help with the exact examples, but
I was thinking of one, just making a YouTube channel, not for necessarily the business, but to drive like the social media thing we had the other day, to drive it back to the website and have these just kind of like small fixes where we've done jobs and the differences they've made, like show two bills, like one bill in the beginning of the year, one bill at the end of the year, and then have like a quick little 1 minute thing on what it cost and what happened, but a very like dumbed down version. And that way, like maybe if people go on the website, they can pick like what their installation issue is and see a video of it and something like that in that.
I love it. I love it. And even just simplifying it into a graphic, right? Like this is what we percent saved, or and that connects with testimonials, which I think every business, right? You should definitely be taking advantage of your customers who love you, ask for testimonials, get the, like why did this service make a big impact on their life, and record that and ask permission to use it in your marketing, because that's gonna sell, just as much as we recently insulated our attic, which is where I'm sitting. And I didn't honestly know about green options. So I even just educating about that, and you'll find that, build that audience of people who are, want to be frugal, but also mindful of the earth. Right. So I think just kind of focusing on, finding what are the facts you can be sharing to give value, and also build up that audience that is going to be interested in your services.
Okay, thank you.
So, unrelated question. It is 8:03 and nobody else has come back, and I don't know if that's because we're in the wrong place.
Let me check with Augustine.
Sure.
Well, listen, guys, I put my email on there, so feel free to email me. I have a dog I have to go get, speaking of, but I really liked all of your ideas. Like I said, I put my email there. Anybody feel free to email me. I'll be happy to help with what I can.
Do you have a name of your business? I didn't catch that.
Oh, so not yet, but the name I want to go with is Green Mountain Insulators.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It looks like we're all coming back together now.
Thank you for doing that.
We have less than 30 seconds while everyone comes right back in. Tenemos menos de 30 segundos en lo que todos entran para atrás.
Un placer, Rolando, que no me despedí, disculpa.
Lo siento que tuve que salirme, Fred. Estabas en el medio de ahí hablando, pero me di cuenta de rayos, son las 8:05.
No te preocupes, gracias.
We got kicked out.
I know, it's 8:05.
We
I mentioned that.
we did all get kicked out, but I just, because a lot of our conversations may have ended abruptly, even though we knew we had a 58-second warning bell. It's been very nice to talk to people, and I'll turn it over to Augustine if you want to wrap it up, but I want to just thank everyone for participating. This was our first experiment, and I think it's a really great opportunity to connect with other people in this room. Because we're not in person, we're doing what we can, but thanks for a great night. And
Gracias
Tanya,
a todos por la noche. Esto era un experimento intentando de saber cómo es que nos podemos reunir porque estamos virtualmente, pero de verdad lo agradecemos mucho por su paciencia y por intentar el ejercicio. Veremos a ver cómo trabaja otra vez, cuando lo intentemos hacer otra vez. Pero por ahora, good night, buenas noches. Recuerden de ir al website y escribir notas sobre Suzanne. Remember to go back to the website and make sure that you write a quick note about Suzanne. You think if she was a great speaker or not. this gives us information on who to use in the future. Esto nos ayuda con información a ver a quién vamos a traer otra vez para atrás en el futuro.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Augustine. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Suzanne. Thanks to all you wonderful entrepreneurs.
Good night.
We'll see you next week.
Buenas noches, nos vemos la semana que viene.
Good night.
Gracias,
Thank you.
igual.
Good
Gente,
night.
good night.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches, mi gente.